Hey guys, welcome back. So check out this, well, what is it? This is a mix between a Honda CB900 4-cylinder motorcycle and what I believe to be a MURRY lawnmower. Some kind of old, yeah, MURRY lawnmower. So this has a 4-cylinder, 4 carburetor. It also has a high and low transmission. So it's 5 gears up, which basically makes it a 10-speed. So as you can see, this thing is in pretty rough shape. No brakes. Brakes are completely seized up on it. The guy said it did run though, so we'll check into that. Now, one issue with it is he said that the clutch is completely stuck. So he said he got it to run, but it won't engage the clutch. So if you shift into gear, it will just take off. So take a look at this rear end that they got going on here. Looks like they put some pillow block bearings on there. And this looks to be the original axle or differential that went on the motorcycle. And then they just bolted some custom four-wheeler axle or some kind of axle to it. Probably take a closer look down here. And I'm looking like that's the exhaust down there. So it doesn't actually have a mower deck that's operational. It's mainly just for looks. But I guess all it needs is a bagger system in the back, huh? It's been sitting for a long time. The guy said it was sitting for probably about 5 years before he bought it. And then when he bought it, he said it sat for a few years itself. So it's been sitting for a while. I guess we can go ahead and just check the oil, see if it has any oil in it first. Yeah, the oil actually looks clean too. And the shifter feels fine. Yeah, it has a high and low range on it. So we can put a shifter, I guess, right there and shift into low or high. So we can do some serious pulling with this. So as you can see, it has dual piston brake calipers on it. Seems like the master cylinder is completely just seized on it. I do have an additional one that came off the Honda Goldwing. Yeah, maybe we can swap that on it. So the guy did give me this air box and some other parts. Looks like he replaced it with these little pod filters here. Goodness. I'd say that thing was pretty seized in there. Alright, let's see if these are a little bit easier. Oh yeah. Well, at least we got some fluid, but I'm gonna flush these lines out because that looks pretty nasty. Yeah, that's not too clean. Check this other side. Yeah, that fluid is completely nasty. Look at all that junk coming out of there. Let's see if we can get these bleeder screws out. Oh yeah. Thought that was gonna be worse. These things are rusted pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty corroded in there. Alright, I'm just gonna spray a little bit of splaster down here. Oh man, look at all that junk coming out of there. I'm probably really just wasting my time on these things. Nope. Yep. It broke off. pretty stuck on there. Wow. Yeah, those look pretty shot. I don't know if there's any saving those. Yeah, those things are pretty corroded. Yeah, I don't think that one's much better. I think I'm gonna have to order up some calipers. That caliper was definitely leaking. So I know all this fluid's gonna leak out. I'm just trying to kind of flush those hoses out. All right, well this thing is pumped up, but absolutely nothing is coming out of these lines. So I'm thinking right on that little proportioning valve right there, where the lines separate into two, might be corroded in there. So let's go ahead and get these covers taken off. That way we can access some of this stuff better. Alright, so now we can get a little closer look at this crafty creation. Looks like we have a little grease zerk here. That's weird. Usually I thought those things would take gear oil. I might just lube the universal joint in here, but oh, it does take gear oil. Hypoid gear oil right there. I'm not sure what this is. Probably some kind of like position sensor if it flips upside down. Here's your high and low transmission. Put a shifter on there. Switch it from high to low. So one thing that I'm noticing that's pretty cool, this frame will unbolt all the way around, even right here, this separation. So you can literally just drop this whole engine from the frame if you need to work on it or rebuild it. It'd be super easy to do. So the guy had this listed as a 1983 model, and as you can see right here, it is actually a 1980. Here's that brake proportioning valve. That is most likely clogged up, so we'll go ahead and take that apart and see if we can get it cleaned out. Another cool thing that I found, of course these shock seals are pretty wore out, but this thing actually has an air suspension on the front where you can literally just pump air in there and let them out. Well, that's pretty cool. So if you look, you can kind of see how this whole system was made. Looks like this original swing arm here goes into the differential. This thing's kind of similar to the Honda Goldwing differential. Looks like he made this custom plate that welded onto the axle, and he has this pillow block bearing. Normally there would be a bolt going through here that clamps onto the original axle bolt, so this normally wouldn't spin inside of it. He has all the weight sitting on this bearing here. I'll probably switch these out to a greasable bearing, because right now there's no grease zerks for that. He has these just welded up to hold the body. there's no movement in the suspension, so we added these bars here to keep it from moving up and down. You can see all the wiring here. Solenoid. I'm not sure what this is. It looks like some kind of capacitor. So I'm just kind of getting a closer look at this. I'm noticing he has this rag in here covering this hole up, but also there are 2 bolts that are missing. One right here and one right here. And also this valve cover gasket looks to be pretty bad. So there's oil like literally just dripping everywhere on this thing. So I'll have to go ahead and order some gaskets up, some of these little rubber covers, and get that replaced. Definitely don't want water and stuff getting down in this engine. So before we get a little too ahead of ourselves, let's go ahead and give this thing a much needed cleaning. Get all this oil cleaned off of it. Got the Trike-a-thon going on. Buddy. Well, alright. I'd say that is a good bit cleaner. Not as much oil on this thing at all. Much better to work on now. So it's the next day, and it looks like we have still some oil dripping out, so that's a pretty good leak. It's definitely coming from this valve cover gasket seal, so I'll go ahead and get one of those ordered. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and drain this oil so we can take this clutch cover off, and I'll go ahead and take these carburetors off, get those cleaned out. So let me show you why I think the clutch is sticking. So right now it's in first gear. I don't have the clutch pulled in, and you can see it stops. So now I'm gonna pull the clutch in. You can see right here I'm pulling the clutch in, and it still stops. Like the tires, you know, won't go anymore. So I'm thinking that these clutch discs, you know, probably just stopped up, corroded or something. So this is a neutral. You can see it rolls fine. If it's not that, then we have some kind of other issues with the transmission. So hopefully it's just the clutch that's sticking. Man, that thing is on there. It's just stripping. That's not working. So we can try chisel. There we go. Well, it looks like I'm gonna have to order a new drain bolt. Thing was definitely on there pretty good. Yeah, there's a lot of crap in it. It looks old, but I don't see any metal in it. Well, that could be our problem there. Look at all that sludge and junk. That feels like sand in there. What is that? It's like sand. Corrosion? Something. Wow, that is most likely why our clutch. Gosh, that stuff is like grease. Grease and sand. I think it's just some kind of corrosion, but I don't know. I mean, it really feels like sand in there. You can see the kind of corrosion on this basket right here. This thing was sitting for a long time, so I mean, you can definitely tell. Look at that. Yeah, that's pretty bad. So you can actually, I don't know if you can see it, way back behind that gasket in there. Right in here, it's just full of it. So I'm gonna try and carefully take this gasket off. I'll probably have to order a new one, but maybe I can save it. So you just see the stuff pouring out of there now. Those things are stuck together. Wow, look at the corrosion in there. Goodness. That's why the clutch wasn't working. Look how nasty all that is. It needs a new set of clutches, but I think I can clean these up. And even if I did get those freed up, it would have not been a good idea to run that through the engine, all this grit and whatever it is. It's really like sand, but I guess it's some kind of clutch material, some kind of corrosion from that. Get a closer look at these clutch discs. I mean, they're really nasty. Some of them up here are just really stuck together, like I can't even pull them apart. I have to get a screwdriver and pry these apart. Good. Yeah, those are like completely stuck. So I'm really not having high hopes for these clutch discs. These are really bad. Probably just gonna have to go ahead and buy a new set of them. I'm gonna go ahead and throw them in the ultrasonic cleaner and see what we can do with them, but I don't know. That's really bad. Alright, we're going to try our ultrasonic cleaner made by Vivor, and I will post a link and a coupon code in the description for this. So let's just toss all these guys in here. Let's let it cook. So there actually is another drain bolt here. I don't know how I missed that the first time. Now we'll go ahead and just flush all that out the best we can. Alright, let's take a look here. So, I did an okay job of cleaning it, but a lot of that's just pitted rust, and I think it's going to take some kind of wire brushing to get that off. Did a decent job cleaning these up though, these aluminum parts. However, I just looked on eBay and I found a whole used clutch assembly with everything for 40 bucks. So I think I'm just going to go that route. Looks like this has oil. It almost looks like two-stroke oil. Wonder if somebody sprayed some oil in these beforehand. Alright, here's our carbs. First glances, they don't look too bad. Oh wow, those look really clean. I do see some particles of stuff floating around in there though. Things look brand new. Look at that. Brand spanking new looking. Wow, this thing is pretty awesome. Alright, let's go ahead and get this thing put back together. So all these carburetor intake boots are severely unaligned. I don't know if you can see that, but let's get them all straightened up here. Still got to get the air filter to put in there, but let's go ahead and put the covers on. Yeah, I think that's a little bit cleaner than having those pod filters. Keep the water from getting in also. Alright, let's take a quick peek and see what's under this valve cover. So whenever you undo these plug wires, make sure you find the firing order. So it looks like we got 1, 2, and then 3, 4 for our firing order. Also, I just noticed on these coils that there's some cracking going on both of them, so I might have to get some new ones. There's a crack right here too. Wow, that looks absolutely horrible in there. I already see it. Wow. Oh, the top looks okay. This valve cover seal is nasty. Wow, guys, look how... I mean, as far as like the cams and everything, that looks good, but you can see where it's been letting in. I don't know if that's dirt or corrosion or what, but this whole valve cover gasket was definitely leaking. You can see where it was running down right here. This side looks even worse. You can see especially where the hole was in the cover here. This stuff was just letting all kinds of crap in. So I think this part right here is your RPM sender for your tachometer, and it looks like it is broken off the casting right there. But yeah, that gasket, look at how nasty all this stuff is. That definitely needs a good cleaning. I think I'm just gonna get some diesel and flush it. You can see on these cams it was definitely sitting for a long time, and it just built up all this junk on it. So I'll have to get all that cleaned up. You can definitely tell this cover's been off before. You can see all the sealant that they had on it. I'm guessing that's not factory sealant. Doesn't look like it. Well, alright guys, that's about as good as I can get it. It's a good bit cleaner. Still not perfect. So yeah, we are kind of at a standstill now. We are just waiting on parts. So we still have the clutch to do, we got the brakes to do, handlebar grips, all kinds of stuff. But all that is going to be in part 2. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, working on this crazy contraption, and I will see you guys in part 2, so look out for that. Later.